Oh my goodness. Working from home or from a cavernous office with all those Zoom meetings left you feeling a bit flat over the last year? I'm Cynthia Watson, CEO of Vertera. We're a project and consulting company, and I did my master's thesis on how to make remote work more productive in the mid 90s. And my company, Vertera, is a completely virtual company specializing in improving remote collaboration in Silicon Valley firms for over 13 years. Our 2021 study of 1,700 professionals shows that over 40% of people, whether they're in the office or at home, report feeling distracted, exhausted, inspected, lonely, endless online meetings. It's 22 pages long, has lots of recommendations, and you can find it on our website. Our study found that 63% of remote workers are participating in more meetings online than they would have before the pandemic, with 30% spending 2 to 3 hours daily on Zoom. And the worst hit group? People still working from an office. So, what are the causes and how can we fix it? Honestly, I could write an entire book on this. Study participants told us that a lot of those meetings were a substitute for impromptu chats in the break room. This was surprising to us because it means that companies aren't using collaboration tools like Slack or Microsoft Teams or WebEx Teams effectively. Meetings and email are really not a substitute for informal office chats or a water cooler. Businesses need to introduce and train managers and employees on the use of collaboration workspaces where informal updates can occur 24/7 asynchronously. We heard from a lot of people in this study that they were invited to a bunch of meetings that they didn't think they needed to be on. Before, when people were not on camera, they would just multitask. But it raises the question, why invite people who don't need to be there? Packing extra people into the call, it just sucks time and productivity. Invest in easy options for people to get the information they need without attending a live session. Good meeting notes, a meeting recording, a team dashboard, just make it easy for people to stay informed. A lot of people also told us that meetings would often go off track into rabbit holes or half the time was spent listening to someone's vacation story. So if you don't feel comfortable getting a meeting on track, make sure you designate a facilitator and give them control of the mute button. And if you do nothing else, master your online meeting platform. Rotate practicing to make sure everyone knows how to present, how to mute, how to dial in if their technology fails. Inevitably, 5 minutes before you present, some program will cause your PC to crash, so it's always good to have a plan for disaster recovery. Now, we know that getting on camera and chatting one-on-one to a few colleagues can really help with connection and engagement, and video is just great for this. But for project meetings or trying to do something productive, the webcam can add distraction rather than improve engagement. We were shocked, actually, that 49% of the study said that being on camera made them exhausted. The increased time in front of webcams have been compounded by well-meaning employers attempting to raise morale by hosting online happy hours, pizza parties, and more, thereby adding to their Zoom time. And the younger employee, the more being on video makes them more anxious or distracted. Video is really best used to connect employees in small groups, one-on-one meetings, or for the first 3 to 5 minutes of a larger meeting for everyone to say hello. It's also great for introducing newcomers, even do an icebreaker. But after that, if it's a large meeting and you're actually trying to produce something, consider giving people the option to turn the camera off and recognize that peer pressure is a key driver of camera use, especially in younger workers, even when it's not required by management or the meeting organizer. So if you're causing employees to be anxious, distracted, and feeling invaded, wouldn't it be a good idea to check in and give people permission not to use the camera? If you must be on camera and it makes you feel uncomfortable, or if you're like me and you find staring at yourself distracting, our favorite trick is to use Zoom's hide self view, or you can minimize the platform so all those talking heads are only a small part of the screen. But let's remember those great internet sensations over the past year. Just remember you're still on camera. So even if you can't see yourself, everyone else still can. And if you don't want to be a cat or potato, if you do get into trouble, just cover the camera until you can figure out how to fix it. For many companies, even with the environmental, health, and productivity advantages that remote and hybrid work will bring, some simply aren't going to embrace the shift to hybrid as an opportunity to streamline operations. Others might force hybrid on employees who aren't really geared to that work style. The only way hybrid will really work is if it's fully supported top down management, but also that all of the employees are engaged in a strategy. Senior management didn't do well with work from home over the pandemic. They're going to view work from home through the lens of slacking off employees, lower productivity, and lower ROI. So it's likely that these companies are not going to make the investments in training on collaboration and communication standards to make it work. It'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy and probably lead to failure. You know, we all know people who were miserable from home over the last year. Lonely, distracted, chaotic background, constantly on chat, over-talking on meetings. Just as office work isn't for everyone, remote work and hybrid isn't either. And finally, if your trust in your employees is so low that you need to monitor them with mouse trackers or all-day video, consider whether they should be working away from the office anyway. For the full survey, our book on remote work, and more tips on how to drive remote productivity, you can check out all kinds of information at Vertera.com. Thanks for listening and good luck in your hybrid journey. And thanks again to Prezi.